Hello and welcome to the podcast today. I want to address one of the most common questions I get, which is, what do you eat? It also happens to be one of my favorite topics. I love talking about food. Food is a very personal thing. And again, it's one of my favorite questions in terms of actually getting to know people. And in my work, my clients know I ask them all the time, what did you eat today? What are you going to eat today? What did you eat last week? For new clients, I ask them, what is a day in the life of your eating? It helps me understand what they're doing right now and how we can improve. But of course, people want to know, as a trainer and a nutrition coach and a busy working mom, what do I eat? So I want to start by sharing a little bit about my food philosophy. There are so many out there. There's a lot of ways to skin the nutrition cat, and I just want to share what works for me. I care deeply about eating clean, even though I'm not perfect. And when I say eating clean, that means I try really hard to not eat out of a package, even though it's not always perfect. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that I'm hitting up a vending machine eating chips. I would literally never do that. But what I might do is have a protein bar that has quality ingredients in it, or occasionally have cereal that is grain-free, gluten-free, maybe not grain-free, but gluten-free, and has ingredients that I know will make my body feel great. I always choose food that's organic. I choose proteins that are pastured and sustainable. Fish is wild caught. I'm not a vegetarian. I don't think I ever will be. My body just really likes to eat animal protein. So no need to message me on whether that's right or wrong. It just feels good for me. I have tried almost every diet in the world, and I have to share with you that I am not naturally thin and lean. I did not come out of the womb with a fantastic metabolism. I could easily weigh 600 pounds if I wanted to. So here's a little preview at this moment in my life of, very simply put, what I eat. My body feels best when I have a balance of protein, fat, and quality carbs, and always, always, always colorful food. I'm always trying to figure out how to eat the rainbow. I know that's kind of an overused statement right now, but it's a really potent one. I try and get greens in at every single meal. So today I had scrambled eggs with spinach and a side of cottage cheese. There's a brand that comes from pastured cows that I really like. I have a small glass of green juice, not always, but that's what I had today, some grapes. And I found a really cool organic gluten-free bagel thin with butter. And I like to use, again, butter from pastured cows. I think that's super important. I almost always have a sweet tooth after a meal, and I don't have time to make a million meals during the day, so I don't do that. So as long as everything is out, the kitchen is a mess, I'm just gonna go for it and have a huge meal. And I always have a breakfast dessert, which, no surprise, is one of my favorite protein shakes. You might have heard that I have a book called Moan Out Loud Protein Shakes, and it's really a recipe collection of all natural protein shakes that just taste so stinking good. So it's another way for me to get more protein in, more greens, and then I'm good to go for many, 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 many hours. So for lunch, I'll usually have like a big salad with a big portion of protein. And then again, I have that sweet tooth after I eat. I do this really cool snack or lunch dessert called chocolate blueberries. What I do is I take some organic frozen blueberries, I put them in a bowl, and then I take my favorite chocolate protein powder and I dump it dry on top of my frozen blueberries. I stir it all up so it looks like the powder becomes like a coating. And then I pour my favorite milk on it, which is oat milk, coconut milk, cashew milk, whatever it is that you like. I stir it all together and I walk away for 5 minutes. And when you come back, it is this incredible, delicious, slushy ice cream heaven situation. And it is also equally delicious with dark sweet cherries. Highly recommend that for a dessert to satisfy your sweet tooth. So for dinner, I usually have some kind of a steak or fish, a big protein, vegetables, of course, of some kind, and a carb of some kind. So pretty basic. I do rice, potato, quinoa. I'm not afraid of butter. I'm not afraid of fat. And then after I get my girls to bed, I like to sit down and watch a show or sit outside and chit chat with my husband. And I have a glass of wine, and darn it, I wish I didn't have this craving, but I do. Whenever I have a glass of wine, I always want like a cute little bowl of like nuts or dried fruit, cheese, chocolate chips, something like that. And I have to confess that happens more nights than not. And so when I want to be really lean, when I say like, hey, I'm going to go on a beach vacation or have a photo shoot coming up, I want to shred up, then I will track macros, which is something we can talk about in another episode. But tracking macros is when you actually record the amount of protein, fat, and carbs you eat in a day. But in this season of my life, I'm just eating what makes me feel like $1,000,000 and is super easy. And one of the other things I like to do is I call it making a plate for dinner when I don't have the energy to actually cook. So I'll take a plate and have some, nitrate-free turkey. Whole Foods has the best. I'll roll it up and have that with some nuts, cheese, a carrot, some raw peppers, whatever, something like that. Kind of like an easy charcuterie board. I don't actually meal prep. I am a trainer. I'm a fitness or a nutrition coach, but I don't like to meal prep. It's too much time. I'm certainly not gonna be making little containers of food. I don't like to do it. And I like a really fresh salad. I like really fresh ingredients, but I will make a dinner with a ton of leftovers. I'm into that. And then for my girls, I have 2 little girls. I'll make for them protein oatmeal, which is just a soaked and sprouted oat. And then I add in our favorite protein powder in the morning with some kind of a fruit. And I also do the same thing with like protein cereal. I'll find a really legitimate cereal brand, if there's such a thing. And then I'll add protein into that, stir it up with my favorite milk. And so let's talk about indulgences because I think it's really important. I've talked about in another podcast episode to bring your B game. You can't be perfect all the time. It just isn't any way to live. It's not fun. And it's a recipe for disaster. So let's talk about fun things. So my indulgences are, I do love coffee. we have an espresso machine and it's not organic, but I have an espresso at least twice a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I love some pizza and I like quality pizza, more of an artisanal kind of a pizza. And I do also sometimes as an indulgence, and if I'm feeling lazy, do like a store-bought cauliflower pizza crust or something like that. And I also love popcorn, although I have to try and take it easy on popcorn. It's easy for me to fall into a routine of having popcorn all the time. But I do make my own. I buy organic popcorn. It's really important when you eat corn to buy organic corn because that's a heavily sprayed crop. And I cook it on the stove with canola oil. Or I'm sorry, not canola oil. Never canola oil, with coconut oil. So let's talk about what I try to avoid, right? And I like to not go into this and into like eating, the idea of eating with what you can't eat. I like to think about what I can eat and what feels good and fuels my body. But also I understand that when you're maybe just starting out or trying to redirect, it's important to look out for things that you want to avoid. So I personally try to avoid hydrogenated oils. Those are cheap oils like canola oil, soybean oil, anything that comes in a clear plastic container. So also that means anything fried. My family, we love to go out for breakfast, and an important thing to skip for me are breakfast potatoes. They're slathered in oil, they're fried, and they typically don't make you feel that great. It's a bunch of empty calories. Wheat does not agree with my body. I wind up feeling super bloated and gross, and sugar and I do not do well with one another. I do a little bit, I do well with fruit, but like a baked sugary treat is not good for me. And I always pass on a high calorie beverage. So, you have to be real careful with things like green juices, which I know are all the rage, but a lot of them are made with 100% fruit, which takes the fiber out, and really you're just left with a bunch of sugar, a bunch of green sugar. So in short, I try to have a protein, a vegetable, and a healthy carb at every meal. My body likes lighter food, so I stick to that. I'm certainly not low carb by any stretch of the imagination. And I used to meal prep like crazy and eat every few hours, but at this stage of my life, I don't have time for it, and frankly, I'm over it. So I would rather just have 3 juicy meals, or even just 2 juicy meals and then that easy plate at night. But I hope that helps you figure out how to eat in a way that fuels your body and is easy. I just try not to stress about it too much. I think that stress can be counteractive when you're trying to make changes in your body. And I just eat what feels good for me. Be mindful of chemicals and, don't treat your body like a trash can. So that's in a nutshell. I hope you liked this episode. If so, please leave me a review if you haven't already. You can keep in touch with me at AndreaBarkley.com and on Instagram at AndreaBarkley. Have a wonderful and healthy day.